himself getting passed by multiple cars, as I mentioned earlier on. So New off in a very precarious situation, but he often finds himself in these places. Doesn't qualify as well as he races.
Up front, they are getting with Lee Aberdeen and Luca Varani, not very far apart at all here. But I just want to see how Alistair Haig deals with Marcello Kessler coming around the old hairpin.
I would say it's not the best decision they've ever made, just not having done that under the safety car, really.
Yeah, they're taking their pit stop strategies from Ferrari lately or something. What's going on?
In turn one, just too much gas on them, too much feet on the loud pedal, and unfortunately he's dropped him all the way down the order. But Philip Hammer is out in front by an 8.91 seconds. Dan Michael is a wall there, sir. And definitely doesn't want to be hitting that earlier on as well.
Difficult, the understeer is in the dirty air through that final corner because it's such a long corner and you get dragged off into the grass very easily. He'll have the slipstream down towards the chicane. Peterson was briefly alongside, but that slipstream has saved him and kept him in third.
Yeah, Varani now lost a little bit of time to Aberdeen, about half a second. Peterson is Pike's pushed more and forward up ahead. He's got out of line. Is now Pike going to have a go at Werrell? Don't push him off. He's in the championship fight. Jack Werrell chasing down Carl Jacklin. Further down, Rob Williams and Chris Barnes.
Sensational run outside line now though for the heavy braking zone. Around the outside goes the Audi R8.
Look how much Miller's come back into play. Exactly. Miller's still such up. He's not on second and change. All of a sudden Miller's back in play.
On to the back end of Phil Jocelyn. So there's been a lot of movers and shakers in this first 2 laps here for race.
Absolutely serious racing league. Everybody's a lot of fun. Yeah, and it's all about the entertainment. So I hope everybody is enjoying themselves out there in the chat. We know that Ron is been enjoying himself watching the Burger King machines off into the grass a little bit there as they're really bunching up now.
Welcome to the SR4S Sim Racing for Simpletons. It's round 4 here in Season 5, and we are live from a track that needs no introduction beyond the one it's given. It is Silverstone here in this wonderful circuit. We're going to be putting 25 laps down around this track here tonight in race number 4 of this season. It should be a very, very good action-packed race here. These cars are up in standing, and I think it's going to be a lot of fun. Looking at the championship standings, it's new leaders in the championship standings. We have Gabriel Hopp, who is leading Pablo Uribe in second place. Jeff Groff there in third. Fourth place is Frankie Brzezowski, Christopher Sears, Christian Jasper, Brian Long, Anthony Zich, Victor Chamorro, Bronson Stafford, Greg Doucet, and Carson Keene, your top 12. And then from there, we've got some drivers tied with Joshua Benjamin, Manuel Vargas, William Love in 15th, Lucas Moody, and Nicholas Caranges in 16th, Samuel Ma in 18th, Felipe Silvino in 19th, Bryce Benton in 20th, with Matthew Rodriguez and Zachary Linder. And in 23rd, it is Matt Dismore. And we said there was a new leader in the championships, and there's a new leader in the team standings. F&G Racing up in the lead with Go Squadra in second place. Final Sim Racing there at 85 points. It's very close all the way through, and still plenty of time anyone could take it. CC Racing, SR4S in 5th, Throttle Thursday North in 6th, Sky Motorsports in 7th, Vortex Motorsports in 8th, Enosis in 9th, Brock Team in 10th, and Throttle Thursday South in 11th. It's Silverstone here, round 4. We've got Sebring coming up next week. Then we go to Coda, Misano, and we end the season at Interlagos. So we've went through Suzuka and Road America and Spa last week, which was a lot of fun, but this is Silverstone. It's iconic. Everyone knows this track. And again, just like I said at Spa last week, it's one you need to have in your repertoire. You need to be able to put down a good lap, and you need to be just willing to fly through Maggots and Beckett's and go. It's going to be myself, Bradley Dalton, here in the booth. I will be joined by the man that the channel gets his name from, JP Broadcasting, James Parfitt himself. James, good morning, sir. How are you?
I'm doing very well, Brad. Thank you very much. Looking forward to some Super Formulas. I watched some Super Formula Lights a few hours ago, and their 25 laps, should I say, they absolutely whizzed around. So we'll see how these guys get in their big brother, of course, in the Super Formula. So really looking forward to this one.
Yeah, these cars are going to be very quick around here. I think it's going to be fun to watch, and qualifying is, I think, really going to be where we set the times, and we get the idea of who is fast where. Practice, everybody seemed to pretty well be on their P's and Q's through practice from what I could tell, but this is going to be the time where I'm really, really waiting to see who can bring the run forward. Track limits. Were there any track limits with the lights?
The problem with Silverstone is they're quite funky. They're almost like the Red Bull Ring with their track limits. 1 minute you can go off the side of the circuit and get away with it, and then other times you end up getting stung absolutely horrendously. So Cops is one, Stowe's another. They need to be a little bit careful going through there, and then coming out the Hamilton straight down onto Abbey is another tricky area. So they've got to be really on it with where they're going to take, if they are going to take off tracks, and that can be planned, mind you. They've got to be careful where they're going to do it. Maggots and Beckett's is another one, of course. It's just, yeah, it's so hit and miss. I think the thing is, I'd love to see sort of a meter barrier around the whole track and then just pulled out. And, you know, if you go out of a meter, either over the white line, you're off track. But it varies so much, Brad. It really is one of the great mysteries of this simulator.
That it is. Track limits, I'm with you on this one, James. Traditionally, I like track limits to be the white lines on the edge of the track. You put all 4 wheels over, it's done, it's over with, that's where it's at. Sometimes at Silverstone, it's the curbing. Sometimes it's different. It's the edge of the curbing. Like, I'm looking through the iRacing rules right now. Turn 1, as they call it. On corner exit, it's the edge of the black-white curbing. At turn 3, it's the black-white curbing. But some things, they say it's the corner apex, and then they say it's the edge of the white line. So you have some weird moments where it's kind of like, all right, is this track limits, is it not? But because of the way the simulator scores it, we might see something go, was that track limits? And the simulator will say, nah, it was okay. Nothing to worry about.
And I think it's the thing, it's the same as I said, it's the same as the Red Bull Ring. It's so hit and miss on what you're going to get. You know, the Red Bull Ring, at some points you can go right the way off the side of the circuit and you don't get punished. And then there's other times where you try it at the Red Bull Ring and you get a slowdown, like down into Schlossgold, turn number 4. You take too much of the apex on the inside and you get a slowdown penalty. You run a little bit wide going out through Roush and Worth and you get a slowdown penalty. But in turn 8 and 9, the last couple of corners, on one of them you can run quite wide and not get a slowdown penalty. And then on the next curve, if you run a little bit wide and get 2 wheels over the thing, or, you know, that just your left side over the white line, you get a slowdown. So I don't know, to be blatantly honest, Brad. I think, for me, just keep it in the middle of the track. That works.
Yeah, that's the good sign. Like, we're watching Carson Keene here, and we just saw a moment where he was completely up the inside, all 4 tires, you know, off beyond the curbing, but he was on the inside of a corner. And so the simulator doesn't score that as an off track, but if he had went to the outside and had ran that same line, it would have kicked it through. Carson Keene is our first person to put in a time, 130x820. Brzezowski has put in a 137.2. We've got a 137.5 from Sears, 137.3 from Hop. So I see a lot of 137s seem to be the mean time here for the first laps going in. And it seems like most drivers are similar in pace, which is what we've come to expect here.
Yeah, I think the improvement in general is massive in this league now. You know, there used to be a few seasons back where we'll watch Carson Keene just absolutely motor away, and it'd be gone, and it'd be over. And, you know, people would be 2 seconds apart or 3 seconds apart. But as this league's evolved and the improvements and the driver standards have got better and better and better, and it isn't any disrespect to the people that took part in the first couple of seasons, it's just the way the league evolves, and that's how it naturally is here. You know, and that's the thing. It evolved and people got quicker and quicker, and then we had a more distinguished field coming in, you know, and that's the thing. And it could be seen just by looking at certain things, and one of them is the strength of field at this moment in time. You know, it's nearly 2.5k. In the first couple of seasons, that probably would have been around about 1.3, 1.4. So, you know, that's obviously a commendment to the work that Brian Long has done as well, pushing the league and up in the standards. And this season it's been a lot better, and I think it can only keep growing and growing and growing. You know, we've got 16 on track again, so I think this is going in the right direction, and I think these guys are doing a great job with it. And this is something that, you know, we're going to see good racing all the way through, and the reason we're going to see that is because obviously the gaps are coming down on your screen. You can see on the left hand side we're only just 1.3 seconds out to William Love. Now if you go 1, that's literally it, right? It's not a massive gap, and I think us as commentators do exaggerate how big of a gap 6 tenths is, 1 second is whatever, and it isn't very big at all. So I think, you know, these are going to be nice close racing. As I said, Silverstone as well. Some people love the circuit, some people don't, and you know, I'm in the fence. I'm on the fence, shall we say, of this. But yeah, we'll see how these get on, and I think it's going to be a great, interesting race to sit back and watch. Pablo Valenzuela been up there as well, sitting in second. He's got greens across the board at the moment, so we'll keep an eye on him and see how he gets on going over the line.
It's interesting to hear the British man say that he's on the fence about Silverstone, but you have the American sitting here saying that Silverstone is a good track and is a fun track at times. It's interesting to point that out.
Oh, I got to ask earlier on, I was doing the OGRL Le Mans, and I was talking to Ewan, and Ewan said, Le Mans is a great circuit. I said, it's not even in my top 10. He said, what? I said, it's not even in my top 10. He said, why is that? I said, I would physically put driving around, turning left at Dega, Daytona, and Martinsville, and Bristol in front of Le Mans. I said, I can't stand it. And Silverstone, again, if I ran through tracks, there's a lot better tracks there, you know. Brands GP's one of them, Alton Park GP's another one as well. As I say, Dega, Daytona, Martinsville, Bristol, I would all put in front of Silverstone. Interlagos would obviously be at the top for me. I just think there's such better tracks than some of these ones that are continually being used and continually being on the schedule. And you know, I think it's time to sort of look at it and say, do we really need to follow this official situation? And, you know, some people like following the officials, some people don't. It's entirely up to you.
I'm having a little bit of deja vu of a conversation you and me had yesterday regarding a certain road circuit that we covered on the channel that I don't know that some people had put in laps until I saw it was on a calendar. So but that's neither here nor there. This is a track
that's the thing, isn't it? You are right. It was Indy, right? It was Indy Road. And I can't stand it. I think it's the most boring circuit in the world. It's horrible. It was just made to bring in more revenue for Indianapolis. But again, there's other road circuits in front of it. Charlotte Roval would be one of them. Daytona Roval would be one of them. You know, and they're all circuits that have been built within an oval but are good. They utilize the oval. Indy doesn't. Yep. It doesn't even utilize any single part of the oval apart from the front stretch. It doesn't use the curve, banking. It doesn't use anything. And to me, it's just boring. And I've watched racing live at Silverstone, and it's a very isolated circuit. You know, you can only see so far. You know, where if you go to Brands, if you stand at the right place and the racing's on the Indy circuit, you can see it all in one go. And that's the thing. You're isolated so much at Silverstone. It's over such a vast area that you can't see. You've got to pick a place where you're just going to watch cars go down the straightaway, or you watch them coming into a corner. But then after that, you don't see nothing else.
And you know, it's interesting you bring that up because, like, for example, I went to the 24 Hours of Daytona in January this year, and when you got in the grandstands, I saw every millimeter of action. If I was in the infield, if I went and was there at the infield portion of the track and I sat down, I could still see onto the banking. I could turn my head and watch them run down the backstretch and run through turns 3 and 4 and dive on the brakes into turn 1. I could still see all of that. Silverstone just seems like a very flat track, and I'm traditionally not a fan of flat tracks. I do think Silverstone has history. I think it can produce good racing, but I think it has to be the right car and the right setup. I think these cars will make good racing. I think modern Formula 1 sucks around Silverstone. I think GT3s can be okay around Silverstone.
Yeah, I think it's more open wheel, and I would suggest that. You know, I watch Radical's SR10s go around there. I've watched multiple different things at Silverstone go around there, and to be honest, I think it's more open wheel that would be beneficial to that. We have come to the end of qualifying, and I know you've listened to us waffle on about track preference and stuff like that, but here's the grid for the race.
Yeah, we'll bring up the grid here. Mr. Carson Keene going to be in first place with Gabriel Hopp in second, Jeff Groff in third, Pablo Valenzuela in fourth place, Victor Chamorro in fifth, Frankie Brzezowski in sixth, Lucas Moody in seventh, Anthony Zitch in eighth, William Love in ninth, Chris Sears in 10th, Manuel Animal Vargas and Bryce Benton will round out that sixth row. From there, we are going to have just a few more drivers, Brian Long and Matthew Rodriguez, Joshua Benjamin and Bronson Stafford, your 16 cars that will be running these 25 laps around Silverstone. And we'll talk about the green lights here in just a moment. Once we get the green lights, I'm sure everyone's noticed the green lights up on top of the halos, above the halos there on the wind box, and I'll bring those up here in just a moment because I'm waiting on the green light, but I think we're waiting on one or two drivers to hit this grid.
Yeah, we got two more to get on, Brian Long and Bronson Stafford. Not too sure. Bronson didn't set a time, so we're not entirely sure if he is going to be getting onto the grid. He has got onto the grid, and lights coming on now.
And it's going to be 5 red lights. And we are underway here with the Silverstone 25 laps here in SR4S, and it's very quickly going to be 3 cars side by side with Keene, Hopp, and Groff, and a good takeoff from Mr. Carson Keene up at the front. Going to absolutely run away. Everybody in the background jockeying for position here as we head down Abbey into Village for the first time, down towards the loop, and when they come out onto the Wellington Straight, we'll see how things stack up very quickly. Pablo Valenzuela is going to be there in 4th place, holding on. Everybody trying to filter in single file. You want to hit the slipstream very quick, and you see very quickly Carson Keene is trying to swerve hard to break that slipstream down the Wellington Straight, but it looks like for the most part, everybody's surviving that initial start, and that is one of the keys to getting through here.
Yeah, survived the initial opening time, and everybody did that. There was a lot of swapping positions all the way through that opening start sequence. Carson Keane did what he had to do. He got it off the line. He's absolutely flying now, coming down into Cops for the very first time here as well. In through B. Maggots and Beckett's next, and you can see just some of the speeds that they are going to do in through here, and it's going to be an absolute incredible job. 165 miles an hour down to 134, coming out the other side here. Carson Keane onto Chapel, onto that hangar straight he goes, absolutely flying and opening up at the moment, but it looks like Victor Chamorro has been off the side of the circuit. For Victor Chamorro, he is facing the wrong way.
Our first victim of Maggots and Beckett's, and just rear tires not holding the grip like he wanted as he went through, and unfortunately that's the moment. And for Victor Chamorro, that might as well spell race done here. 7.8 seconds off, and is going to continue to drop. But look at Carson Keane here trying to break the draft, going down the Hamilton Straight here into Abbey, down through Farm Curve for the first time here through Village, and this is going to be the name of the game. How can you break the draft? But again, we talked about that green light at the top. These cars do have the push to pass. They have that little bit of extra boost you can get through. And it is, if it's solid green, they're not using it. If it's flashing green, they're using it. When it's red, it means it's low.
Yeah. And if it's flashing red, it means they're using it when it's even on low, which is like 15 seconds, I believe it is. And then when it's grey, it's off, it's done. They've used it all. They can't do any more with it than what they've already done here. But we're on board with Pablo Valenzuela, and that is Jeff Groff in front of us for the very round here as well on lap 2 of 25. This is going to come thick and fast. Ladies and gentlemen at home, don't forget you are in YouTube chat, say hi. We will respond. We're going to plunge into Maggots and Beckett's here on board with Valenzuela, doing an absolute stunning job. He's going to get that car down to about 130, down to the right hand side, grab that right hand side as much as possible we can, take the exit, and then go once more. It's interesting to see Carson Keane opening up a little bit of a gap over Gabriel Hop here, because they were literally drafting each other, and then Carson obviously doing a little bit of weaving and breaking that draft. And then you've got Benjamin in the mix. He's got Vargas in front of him, who is chasing down Bryce Benton. So nice little couple of pockets of battles happening at the moment. Not massive gaps appearing, which is great for us here, but yeah, it's all kicking off towards the back end.
Yes, it is, as we see a good dive there from against Benjamin there. Animal going through, Benton going through, and they are going to be swapping things around here. Up at the front, you mentioned Carson Keane. I've got to wonder, what's he doing with his battery here? What's he doing with that push to pass, trying to go through as we run her? Oh, there's a big off there from Mr. Joshua Benjamin, running off the circuit, now trying to hold it around the outside here as they head into Village, and now the inside for the loop onto the Wellington Straight. What can he do to hold this through, and is he going to dump the battery? Is he going to dump the battery down the Wellington Straight? That is the question, because he's not in the draft here. Or is he going to just slot in, and he just slots in? That's the good decision.
Yeah,
I'm really curious.
Yeah, just slots in on that one. I think the interesting thing will be the likes of what Vargas is doing and Bronson Stafford's doing up in front, and William Love is another one who's just up the road at the moment. He's got Chris Sears, and you can see currently there's no usage of the battery at the bottom. It does flash up on the dash, ladies and gentlemen. We're not just guessing and being a Houdini. We are actually telling you it will flash up. If you have a look, we'll go through Maggots and Beckett, see what happens with William Love coming out the other side of Chapel. Around the left-hander he goes, then into the right-hander. This is actually the Beckett section, and now onto the Chapel. Is he going to use that button? He's not at the moment. He might be another one who's saving it for a little bit later on. Interesting as it works out. You know, you've got 5 cars behind us, and William Love in there, and Chris Sears, but you've got Carson Keane, Gabriel Hop, Jeff Groff, and Pablo Valenzuela, who are also not too far apart either.
Yeah, from what I can tell, it doesn't really look like anyone's been using their push to pass, from what I can tell so far. I haven't seen any of the lights blink up, and I haven't seen anything catch my attention in terms of overspeed for anyone. So these gaps are just genuine pace. I think right now everybody is really just settling in, seeing where they're at, and then they're going to pick where they use it. And the cool thing about it, it's not like DRS that you see in like Formula One, where you can only use it down the Hanger Straight. You can only use it down the Wellington Straight. This, you can use this anywhere. You can use push to pass where you want to use it. I do see somebody was blinking there. Jeff Groff using a little bit of battery trying to stay in the slipstream. And I think that's a good decision, especially if you're here. You might be in the battle for a win by the end. Use that little bit of battery, get up to the front, and try to hold that draft.
Yeah, I think that's the thing. You've got to try and stay together. And at the moment, these guys here at this back end are staying together. You know, William Love, Bryce Benton is in the lead of this pack. And he's doing a great job at this moment in time. You know, he's staying ahead of where he needs to be. Vargas is in behind, Stafford's in behind that as well. You can see on the back end of Stafford looking back at Joshua Benjamin, and he's another one who's there and thereabouts. So nothing is over, nothing is done yet currently at this moment in time. These guys are all very close together. However, you've got to make a decision getting this close as he is now. Does he go in and start using it, or does he not go in? But you can see Bronson Stafford is using it, trying to get away from Joshua Benjamin, who's using the natural draft that he's receiving.
Yeah, and the draft is powerful. That is one of the things I think people forget about, is the draft is powerful. And we saw that down in Spa. We saw a lot of people opting not to use battery and just use the draft and follow through. It's something that you can get away with. It may not be the best idea at times, depending on where you're at on the circuit, but it is something you can get away with at certain parts of this track, as we're seeing now. We're following this battle through, and these guys are just glued to each other, and I haven't seen anything, you know, in particular, but it also begs the question, what's it going to take to get a pass done?
Well, that's the $1 million question. You see Bryce Benton on his push to pass trying to escape here, and that's the $1 million question, isn't it? What is it going to get done to get a pass done? Is it going to be a question of somebody waiting for a mistake? Don't get me wrong, Benton took a very unusual line out through Luffield and Brooklands. You saw the other three behind him all in the same line, and but Bryce is to the opposite side of the circuit there, but it seemed to work out for him. But that's the thing, isn't it? What are you going to be able to do? What can you do here for the guys in the back? Now, earlier on, of course, we had a 52-car grid here in the Super Formula Lights, and there was just action all over the circuit, as you can imagine, with 52 cars. But with these amount of cars, and to be fair, you probably don't want to go much higher than this. Everybody would love 20 cars on the racetrack, but at the same time, you've got to think in conjunction with the circuit. Real-life Formula One has only got 22, so is it really a big deal that you're a few cars back from that? Probably not. You've got battles materializing, and one of them is on your screen right now, and that is currently Bronson Stafford on the outside with Vargas on the inside of him, not really getting the job done, and now he's got to wait again on that run down into Abbey.
Yeah, and this run into Abbey is going to come very, very fast. Go through, quick flow right-hander here into the left, down through Farm Curve. Hold on to it as you can, and I don't see anyone really trying. We're seeing some late dives, some Daniel Ricciardo-esque late break dives in, but I'm not seeing anyone really try to make an absolute, stellar, stunning, last-second aggressive overtake, which I gotta say I like that nobody is really trying to do anything overly aggressive. Everyone's settled in here. We're only 6 laps in of 25, so they know right now it is all about, play it safe, play it smart. We do have Valenzuela up in P4, who it looks like is making a run on Groff and maybe trying to make a pass on Groff. He's right there. And then, of course, Hop in second place has stayed within about half a second, 0.6 of a second on Carson Keene, and is just staying there. And I think right now they're just kind of playing the game, the little bit of mind game that they need to play of just, I'm right here. You're not losing me that easy. What can I do to just stay in your rear mirror?
Yeah, I think that's the thing they've got to make sure that they can achieve, right? Stay in the rear view make sure you're on track, make sure you're a part of the guy in front. If he makes a mistake, you want to be there. And the only way you're going to be doing that is to score points. It's like anything, right? To first, you got to finish first. To first, you have to finish. And if you can't do that, well, you're going to be in trouble. So they've got to make sure they're in there as well. Don't forget, obviously, the push to pass. I think it's like 90 seconds, if I'm not mistaken, between usage. So once they've used it, they can only use it for, they've got to wait for it to charge. So it's a 100-second cooldown. So when you use it, you've either got to make a decision that you're going to use most of it, a little bit, or none of it, because you can't use it again for another 100 seconds after that.
Yeah, and 100 seconds, that is a lap around here. That's the thing. It is not... Once you use it, you basically know you're going to be in the same spot of the track the next lap before you can touch it again. And that is something that, you know, it can be kind of daunting, especially if you use it in the wrong part of the track and you don't get the advantage, get the run you need, and then all of a sudden the person behind you uses theirs. Say right here, going through Cop's Corner, you decided to dump it now, and then something happens through Maggots and Baggots, you get a little loose here, and coming out of Chapel. And then down the hanger straight, the person behind you, they dump their push to pass, they fly past you and say, adios, see you very much, and leave you in the dust. It is possible, it is doable, so you gotta be confident when you use it, you gotta be ready to use it, and remember, you're not gonna get it for basically one lap again.
Yeah, it's all about where you've got to go and use the push to pass itself, right? You either use it to defend, you either use it to attack, and that's the thing. Either way, you've just got to make sure that you're using it in the right place, because the last thing you really want to do is use it in the wrong place, and as you say, the guy behind go whizzing past you like an absolute rocket. So I think a lot of it at the moment is cat and mouse. I think that's what we're playing. You know, we've got almost a sort of Tom and Jerry scenario going on, where obviously Jerry is trying to chase Tom or upset Tom, and Tom is waiting for Jerry to do something before it ends up going all a little bit wrong. So this is what we've kind of got. You see, no push to pass, no push to pass, no PTP, no PTP, no PTP. Very difficult situation when you've got that natural scenario going on.
It really is, and there's a mistake from Moody going loose there in the background, going wide. That's going to drop the gap a little bit there. That's going to drop Mr. Lucas Moody off of this four-car battle in the front. And even then, Carson Keene is starting to open up a gap there to Gabriel Hopp a little bit off of away, but as they come through, they start to close the gap a little bit. So it's interesting to see how this is ebbing and flowing through. Valenzuela is starting to put pressure on Groff as we come through out of Beckett's here down into the Chapel curve, and you can see that closing that gap a little bit, but then it opens right back up. So you've got to be careful, and you can see the blinking green lights. There's multiple people using their push to pass there down the hanger straight.
Yeah, absolutely. They're all full defense shots. Benjamin, Manuel Vargas, Bronson Stafford and Bryce Benton all in this mix here, and now they're recharging again, but it's that natural draft that seems to be taking that position. Is Benjamin going to actually go for it? You've got that inside line. He tries to send it down on the inside. Nothing doing here. Is going to wait now. What's he going to decide to do? Is he going to try and go at the inside? No, he's too far back. He almost settles for where he is, Brad, and you can't settle. You kind of got to go for it, and that's the thing with these guys. You've got to make sure that you're in that position to attack if you can, and at the moment it looks like Joshua Benjamin just isn't quite in that position to be doing that.
Yeah, and a race this competitive with everybody this closely matched on pace, if you get even the sniff of an opportunity, you have to take it. There is no reason to sort of settle in where you're at. So Benjamin does need to kind of get going there a little bit, but we see plenty of drivers still kind of weaving down the straight, and it's interesting to me to see some people weaving to break the toe, and then the car behind is saying, you know what, I don't really need to follow you doing all of the weaving. I'm not that concerned about it. I'm just gonna keep on my path. I think it's interesting to see that, because it tells me that traditionally the draft that we would think is extremely strong, some drivers just aren't that concerned about it.
Yeah, absolutely, and I think that's the thing. I don't really follow. I just see it as you're adding mileage on, and that's the situation, right? You're not really making an impact. You're adding mileage onto your car, going a completely different way. So you've got to make sure that whatever's best for you, and I don't think sometimes following a car is necessarily the right thing to do, because all you're doing is adding. You might be breaking a drive, but at the end of the day, as Carson Geek goes and sets the fastest lap on 137, then gets it overtaken by Lucas Mooney, 37.183, doing a great job here. But these 4 cars having a right little ding-dong, and for me, just keep it in a straight line.
Yep, I would agree with that, and I like seeing the fact that Lucas Moody has put in the fastest lap by a considerable margin there on that last run, because it tells me Lucas Moody is not down and out for the count yet. Lucas Moody has a little bit more in that car to give, but it is interesting to see Bryce Benton swerving as much as he is, and he's trying to break the draft to cars that don't care that the draft exists. And really right now, you're 4.3 seconds back from William Love and Chris Sears battling. You need to just stay in a straight line and everyone kind of work on closing that gap to the car ahead, because that is really what they need right now. They need to get closer to that P9, P10 battle so they can start being in this a bit more, as we have Joshua Benjamin here taking a very, very wide line through Luffield and into Woodcote, as he is looking to do something a little bit different, trying to get a pass done. But right now it is just a big draft train of 4 cars. We go through, and up in the front it does look like Mr. Jeff Groff has heard our words about not sitting back, is making a run through, and might have a run on Gabriel Hopp here in the next lap or two. Might be thinking, hey, I'm a little bit faster than you, I think I can take on Carson Keene, and the gap up to 2-1 is a 1.5 seconds, and Jeff Groff might say, you know what, I fancy a chance in first, and then lights up the tires going down the Hamilton straight.
Oh, absolutely, and he's got again now. Pablo Valenzuela is in, closing in that gap as well. Lucas Moody in there all at the same time, getting a little bit closer. That back battle is still making it through, and they're still fighting as well. So a great job from all of these guys keeping his cars on circuit. As I say that, Matthew Rodriguez has gone and dropped it. Oh, look at that snap. And then he's going to be into the fence. Yeah, there we go. Oh, and tyre. So, yeah, a couple of bits fell off that car randomly on that one.
Yeah, for a second there with Rodriguez, it was going right, and then it snapped back left. And whenever you have a car that is sliding one way and then snaps the other, it's so hard to save it once it snaps. And I thought he was going to get away with a little bit of a bump off the wall, and then that tire just kind of said, nah, I'm done. I'll go away. And unfortunately, that is Rodriguez done and dusted there. Valenzuela holding on to Groff here through Maggots and Beckett's, and is just staying 0.3, 0.4 of a second back. They are dropping very quickly from Gabriel Hopp and from Carson Keene. Carson Keene has opened the gap to 1.75 seconds on Gabriel Hopp, and is continuing to open this gap as we go. Is that going to close over the next 14 laps? We jump back here to this battle for P11. Look at this.
Very, very close. Vargas, Benjamin, Stafford, and Bryce Benton. Benton again all the way to the left-hand side. Stafford's all the way to the right. He's going to have a go here. Is Stafford? Is he going to get alongside? He is. Down into Stowe we go. Oh, Benton sent it in deep. You want to be careful on the exit there as well. He does manage to make it, and it does a great job in the process. Round the outside we go. Are we going to see a car turned? We're not. We're full on the line, and Bronson Stafford got it done over Benton. Now it's all about Benton coming back at him.
Yeah, and Benton's going to very quickly be trying to push forward here. I don't think Benton's going to let this one go easily. And, of course, you have Mr. Joshua Benjamin in the mix as well now, that as these two have fought, Benjamin said, hey, I see some easy places coming. Big lock up there on the front wheel from Benton as we go around. And now watch out for Mr. Vargas back there in P14. Manuel Vargas is now going to be in the mix as well. We've suddenly turned this into a 4-car battle for P11 as they go through. Look at this, Vargas on the inside, hard on the brakes, and should, as I say it, be able to clear the position. And as I say that, he does. There we go. Manuel Vargas up into P13 with Benjamin dropping to 14th now. Benton in 12th, Stafford in 11th. 6.2 seconds they have to William Love in 10th. So a battle outside of the top 10, but a hard battle nonetheless. We jump back up here. Moody battling very, very strong with Pablo Valenzuela. Valenzuela there, very clean around, trying to hold through. as we go down Vale into Club. Can they settle it in? Hard on the brakes into the final corners to go down the Hamilton straight, and they settle it up. Valenzuela in 4th place, Moody in 5th, but Moody has been setting lap after lap consistently faster than anyone else on track right now. So I would be worried if I had Lucas Moody in my wing view mirrors.
Yeah, absolutely, I agree. But he did lose that position to Valenzuela. It looks like Benton has passed Manuel Vargas here down the back end. So these two still having a ding-dong. It's the back and the front almost having the fights on racetracks at the moment. You can see Bronson Stafford's trying to clear off down the road. He's leaving Bryce Benton, Benjamin and Vargas to have their own little battles and worry about these as he's going to be bolting down the road. Gabriel Hopp has got Jeff Groff trying to close in on him here as well. Nothing really doing about. Half a second out at the moment. Lap 13 of 25. We've got 12 to go, and all the action is still yet to come. I've got a funny feeling there's still more happening here.
There's a lot more to happen here as we've went over that half race distance. And I think what's going to be interesting to me is to see who has been playing the smooth, steady, slow game through the first half of this race. Who has been saving a little bit more for those final 10 laps as we go. That's really when I think things are going to come back. For example, Carson Keene has pulled out 2.3 seconds here. But here's the thing. If Hop has been saving even a little bit, when we go in those final 10 laps, Hop can just dump what he's got, and then we're going to suddenly have a battle for the win on our hands. It's going to be interesting to see who has saved the push to pass, who has used it all, and who is really looking at that long-term race strategy. As lap 14 of 25 has now started, and you see the times coming up. Jeff Groff with a personal best, Valenzuela with a personal best as they come through. Moody was slower that time around and is still closing the gap slightly to Valenzuela. Groff is still closing the gap to Hop here as we go through. Personal best for Brian Long, personal best for Anthony Zitch. So they are continuing to put in very strong times for them, and they're ramping up the speed a little bit, but it's really going to be who is battling where in the field that I think becomes interesting as we see Groff here trying to chase down Hop, Valenzuela, and Moody still battling in that gap 0.3 of a second.
Yeah, the inroad gain is not a lot at the moment. It's kind of steady at around about 3 to 6 tenths. Same what's happening down the back end. Vargas again gets the gap down. Oh, saying that Benjamin just made a massive mistake. Oh, he's made an even bigger one as well. Oh, Joseph Benjamin. The interesting thing on that one, bro, was there contact or was it all on his own? He starts sliding, and then he tries to defend. No, he didn't touch him. All on his own on that one.
Yeah, that is a case of asking too much out of the tires, and the tires just don't have it to give. They're overheating through, and that is one thing that, we haven't talked about here in this race. The tires can't overheat. Silverstone is a track that can really wear on your tires, and traditionally we see that a lot here. I'm curious to know what those tires are looking like for most people right now, because that is going to be something that I think will limit a few people as this race goes.
Yeah, Silverstone's traditionally hard on tires, and I think these guys aren't going to be any different. Valenzuela is in there at the moment. He's chasing down on Moody, and the tire situation will be interesting to see how they get on and whether or not they will end up getting loose. We saw a little bit in the Super Formula lights earlier. They were getting a little bit loose towards the end, but nothing major. Of course, these guys pushing higher speeds than they were, and I think at the end of the day it could play a factor, and I'd be interested to see how it works out. But at the moment it's all very stagnating. It's all very follow me almost.
Yeah, and that is one of the things that Silverstone can turn into, is a case of follow the leader and go through. Again, I said it on lap 1, where were the passing opportunities? Where are the moments going to happen? What can you do to gain position? And right now, I don't think anybody can really do anything, especially when gaps are opening up how they are. We do have Groff, who's catching up to Hop there in second place, but just as I say it, the gap starts to open up because now they're going down the hanger straight here, and you see a little bit of trying to catch, and then you've got the bit of swerving going through, trying to break the draft from Hop, and Groff is going to get that briefly within 1/10 of a second, and then it's going to open up here 3/10, 4/10 as they hit the corner, because as soon as you go to turn, all that air washes off and you get in the dirty air, and any effect you had on the draft is basically negated.
Yeah, it's a tough one with these cars because obviously the wash in front, coming off the back end of the car behind, fastest lap for Moody this time, 36.753. But how is he doing in conjunction with lap times to the guys in front? Well, he's going to have to gain some places. He's took 4 tenths out of Groff over the last, 6 tenths over the last 2 laps. But I can tell you one thing, he's got to do a lot more. He's got to do a lot more to try and get near him, and he's going to have to make that gap probably half a second to 6 tenths per lap, which is just not what he's doing at the moment. You know, we've got Bryce Benton down here with Vargas, and these guys are still having a nice little battle, and Benton in that Aston Martin livery consignment machine there as well in the green, Vargas in his own blue colorblind red, yellow and black machine there.
Yeah, and it's interesting to see these two dueling it out, and seeing the run they're going for, both of them on the push to pass there going through the Wellington Straight. One defensive, one offensive, but it ends up negating out both ways as they come around through Luffield down into Woodcote, and then they'll go down the old pit straight here, and they continue around. It's really turned into a game of everybody is running through, but again, we've got 9 laps to go here, James. I think something is still to come here from this race. 9 laps to go. The field is spread out a little bit, but I think things will start to close in near those final few laps.
Yeah, I think you might be right on that one. I think at the end of the day, they've got to try and close it in now because they haven't got many laps to go, and if they don't start getting closer and closer, just like Jeff Groff and Gabriel Hopp here, they're going to be where they are. And that's the problem, is they're not going to be making any different inroads on people. Jeff Groff's got to go for it. He hasn't got any options now. We're coming into the last 8 laps, and he really has to start closing up and closing up fast, because otherwise it doesn't matter what the gap is. He's just not going to be able to get there.
Yeah, and that's the problem, is you've got to watch that gap as Joshua Benjamin is into the pit lane here, and we'll see what comes out with that here. Groff, again, just right there. It's just continuing to follow the leader here. Do what you can to go through, and no, what you just saw is not a track limits issue. That is a case of one of the places you can cross that curbing in that white line and be okay and have no issues there down into Cops Corner. As we go through Maggots down into Beckett's, these guys are continuing to push, continuing to put pressure in. We're closing the gap to Carson Keene as we go through, and I think what's going to be interesting for me is how that gap to Carson Keene is affected. As we look through the last lap, they were faster than Carson Keene, both Hopp and Groff. Now, of course, they weren't side-by-side battling, but they were both faster than Carson Keene by a couple of tenths. We'll see if that is a situation to continue. If they continue to close that gap slowly but surely, they may be able to make inroads, but they're going to have to do it lap over lap. And as you can see on the bottom, they've not been doing that lap after lap after lap, and they didn't do it again on the last lap. But Moody does put in the fastest lap of the race with a 1:36.72. So, still plenty to give here from some of these drivers, and Lucas Moody is going to be one that is going to be on the back of both of these guys very quickly. And Lucas Moody could be in the run for a top 2 here if the race gives.
Well, you can see he's closed up over the last 4 laps over Jeff Groff, and he's brought in round about 1.3 seconds. So this is kind of a nice little pressure cooker that's brewing nicely between these guys, and it could end up with Moody really getting involved. And is Groff going to rue the fact that he didn't clear Gabriel? Because as quick as Moody's looking, he could easily get the both of them.
Yeah, and it would not surprise me to see Moody get both of them. He doesn't have enough laps, I think, to get Carson Keene, but he does have enough time to get both of these drivers if he can set it up right. Now, of course, we're hitting that point where, you're getting in dirty air through the corners. You're getting in the draft down the straights, the dirty air in the corners. It can start to kind of affect. And the question is going to be, what's he going to do with that push to pass? You see, as soon as he hit Chapel, he went on the push to pass there. The light starts blinking, and everybody in front of him is blinking too, though. He's really giving it his all here to try to catch up, try to catch in. He's 0.7 of a second now, and he needs to still get closer. He needs to get within a few tenths, I'd say 0.4 of a second, really, from Groff to have a considerable chance of any sort of late break dive into a corner or any sort of draft pass down any of our straights here. He's close. He's got 6 laps to do it, though, and I do think he's got time, especially when you consider he still was 0.2 faster than Groff and half a second faster than Hop, if I'm looking at the times right.
Yeah, I think you are, and that's the thing. There's a lot involved for Lucas Moody now. He's on a roll at the moment. He's got the bit between his teeth for some reason that we cannot fathom out, and no racing driver has ever been able to tell me why they get quicker when they see the people in front of them. And at the moment, well, we don't know why they get quicker, why on that one, but you just do. You drive to a faster delta almost, and you end up getting yourselves involved. So I'm really interested to see what happens here with Lucas Moody and how he's put the gap down again by another 2 tenths. This could be a 3-car fight going into the final 5.
Yeah, I definitely think a 3-car fight is brewing here. Look at the gap continuing to come down, but Lucas Moody's got to be a little careful, especially going through on the exit of Cops there. That almost was track limits. It might have actually been track limits, but he's got to be careful. Too much of that, and you can put yourself in a world of hurt very quickly here as we go down the hanger straight here, and you can see Groff and Hop swerving around a little bit, and Moody just kind of split in the middle, not really swerving to their extent, but is a little bit there, and you can see very quickly closing that gap now 0.3 as they head down into Stowe, head through Vale here, and this is really where I think this next lap Lucas Moody will have a move on Groff if he can make it stick.
Yeah, I think he will. I think if he can get close enough, which it looks like he is, he's 3 tenths back at the moment. Gap's coming down little by little into the right-hander of Abbey. They go through Farm Curve now. Coming into Village, the right-hander. Moody's close right up now. He is close, super close to Jeff Groff and Gabriel Hop. And now it's all about what Moody's going to be able to do. Can he get in there? Can he get it done? Can he get the job finished? He's worked his tail off in conjunction to get to these guys. You don't want to throw it away now.
Yeah, and I think the issue is if Moody doesn't get this done soon, he's got to remember that Valenzuela is not that far back, and these guys are considerably slower than him, and Valenzuela is fairly quick, too, so we could see that gap come down fairly quick from Valenzuela to Moody, and we could magically end up with a 4-car battle because right there is Valenzuela right in the mix. That's 1.8 seconds, 1.7 now, 1.6 now. So that is going to continue to close up little by little as Lucas Moody is very slow here as we see Groff 0.2 of a second off a Hop here through Maggots, through Beckett's, down into Chapel, down the hanger straight. Just a couple of tenths off there. Lucas Moody lost some considerable time there. And I'm not sure if that's a push-to-pass situation or what that was because he lost a lot of time.
Yeah, he just might have been out of shape somewhere as well for Lucas Moody, though, but he has lost all that hard work gone. Jeff Groff and Gabriel Hop side by side now. It's going to be a battle of the wheels. Who's going to have the more wheel on it? Gabriel Hop takes that position to back. He opens up the steering once more. Blocks off the move by Jeff Groff. Now Moody's there as well. Moody's been giving a lifeline here as well. And now he's got to make the most of it. You can see Hop take a tighter line in that one. It's all getting a very, 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 very close with these 2 cars.
Yeah, this is a, as you would say, James, a right old ding-dong. We're going to go 3 wide here through the left-hander of the loop going around. Moody was trying to look around. Valenzuela now half a second off of Moody as Groff and Hop are just a couple of tenths separated here. Down the Wellington straight, we're going to go hard on the draft they go, and look at this. Groff is going to dive to the inside, hard on the brakes. A little bit of defense, a little bit of offense at the same time. He's trying to hold off Moody. He wanted to have a move on Hop here. Now we're going to set up through the right of Luffield into Woodcote. A little bit different of a line if he can make this setup. And no pass is done at the moment, but look at Moody. He's right on the back of Groff. Oh, don't take it side by side through Cops' corner. Please don't do it. And he is. He's going to look the outside through Cops. No, not able to hold on to it, but he's going to settle back in behind here. And will he try through Maggots and Beckett's? There's no way he looks for this, but he's just right there in the wing mirror. He's saying, hey, I'm here. I'm faster. Just know I'm going to get you soon. And oh, he gets all out of shape through Maggots and Beckett's.
Yeah, he got that wrong. Unfortunately, that's going to open up the gap. Valenzuela's in the mix now as well. We've got these 4 cars going to be having a nice little, as we said, a ding-dong, because I can tell you that much. They're grouping together. They're fighting. They're grouping, and then they're fighting, and then they're separating again. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens over the next 4 laps, because I can tell you one thing, they're getting very, very close together.
They're getting very close. They're getting very feisty. And here's the thing. While they're doing this and they continue to do this, who's running away? Carson Keene. He is just opening up the door up front and saying, you know what? you four battle it out for second and third. I'll just go ahead and run my laps here, my pace laps to continue on along and just, you know, set my time trials through, which is exactly what's happening. There's somebody off to the right that is just sitting still stationary and says, you know what, I want no part of that. That is our 16th place driver, Rodriguez, who said, you know what, I want nothing to do with this, so I'm going to stay well out of the way, which didn't have to, but fair respect to it.
Yeah, exactly, and that's the thing. You don't want to get yourselves involved in that. We talk about back markers and my Formula One preference of please get out of the way. You know, that would be good on that. And that car did get out of the way, but we have got Mooney. He's got Venezuela now behind. He's now got to think, does he defend or does he attack? And every time he's been defending, he's lost 2 attempts over the cars in front. In through Maggots and Beckett's we go. Mooney getting a nice little run through there. Venezuela not giving him an inch of gap. The gap's come down to 6 tenths in front. Here it's closing. The natural draft. Mooney's on his push to pass as well. It looks like Groff has already used it and it's recharging up for the next 100 seconds. So whenever that ran or used, and he now can't use it again. And in the meantime, Venezuela's lost 4 tenths over the last few corners. So all the action's still to come, and we're on lap 23 with 2 to go.
Yeah, Moody was dumping the push to pass all the way out of Beckett's, all the way down into Stowe. He did not let off. He held on to it for a solid 10 seconds at least and continued on and along. And we're just, you know, at this point, someone's got to make a move. Someone has to make the move somewhere. It's just the question of who can do it when. I don't know the answer to that is the problem. This is the thing. We've gotten this point where it's a nice little 4-car train and they just can't get around each other. They're right there. They're having looks. They're getting side by side, but nobody's clearing. And we're 2 laps to go here. Your opportunities are running very, very thin at this point.
Yeah, they are. You've just got to make the most of it at the moment. You've got 1 more run through Maggots and Beckett's after, or 2 more runs after this to try and get it done. Groff is closed up into Hop. He's letting him know he's there. Takes a different line to Hop in front of him. Moody is in the background. He's still closing in. Venezuela's now coming in to contact with each other. Everybody else further, quite far spread out. So it is these 4 providing the action here on lap 23. Coming out into Chapel we go. Groff, Moody, Venezuela. Who's going to be able to get it? Who is not going to be able to get it? Well, the overtake's on for Jeff Groff. He's closing quick. Got Hop weaving around like his favourite. Grandma knitting a jumper. And now we've got Venezuela in the background, keeping an eye on the whole situation. So, yeah, going to be definitely an interesting one.
I hate when drivers, there's a big ramp from Groff off of the sausage curb as we have Carson Keene setting in the fastest lap of the race so far. And I hate when drivers weave back and forth like that. I know it is a thing that some drivers do down straights. 1 move over, 1 move back is where you should be. Valenzuela looking up the inside here on Moody, not close enough to capitalize on the braking, but is right there again. And Moody's going to know he's there. He's going to be seeing him. Moody gets a little out of shape there, coming out of the loop down in towards Wellington Straight. And here we go. This is the move Valenzuela needs to make stick, but he pulls over. He hits that wall of air. Can he hold on to it? He's going to be the inside. He's late on the brakes. He dives it through. He's brave. He's a little too brave, though. And he's going to slide through. But did he hold on to it? Only just.
He did, but he did it under full push to pass there. And now Moody's got his push to pass on as well. Venezuela's got nothing. He's got no response. They're going to try and take it too wide. Is it going to work? It is. But at the moment, you saw Venezuela was on his push to pass. Now Moody's done his as well. He's got nothing to respond to this now. So that's it. It's all done and dusted. It's all now on the driver ability of these 2 guys. And, well, their fighting has led to the gap up front. So let's hope that gap don't get too big. Otherwise, that final lap's going to be a bit stagnant here.
Yeah, and I don't know if you caught that on the dashboard, but Moody is completely out of push to pass. If I saw that correctly, he has no time left at all. He is done, he is dusted, and he is stuck.
Yep, he's great. Whereas
that
Venezuela, you can see he's on his now, and then he's using it considerably at the moment. There he goes, on, look, in big letters in front of you, on green letters there. And Venezuela, overtake on, he's hasn't got long left though, mind you. He's running low as well. Final lap of the race, Carson Keane coming onto the Wellington now and is 6.1 seconds out in front.
Yeah, Carson Keane with a beautiful race here, just running away with it. And at this point, Valenzuela has nothing to respond with. Moody has nothing to respond with other than a draft and a prayer. Groff and Hop dumping all their push to pass now. And the question is, who has what left? Well, Groff has 30 seconds left, we can see. Hop has 15, so Groff, if he just stays on the button at this point, he might have a little bit more to give here as we head down the old pitch straight. 15 seconds to give. It's not, I don't think it's going to get him close enough, though, to even make a difference to get the pass, and he can't let off of it at this point because he won't get another opportunity to use it.
Yeah, you might as well use it. Dump it all on that one. You might as well just use it and get it done. And he has done that, and now it's a matter of driver wheel. Venezuela's passed Lucas Moody. He has passed Lucas Moody. We'll have a look back at the end of that one. Carson Keane on his run down now is coming into club. And, well, he's taken a victory by a country mile.
Yeah, Carson Keane has not put a wheel wrong, has not dipped a wheel off, and is going to take the victory here at Silverstone for this round here of the SR4S. Very clean run, and in the end, he sets the fastest lap on the final lap too. Gabriel Hop comes across the line, Jeff Groff in third, Valenzuela in fourth, and Moody in fifth. Here we go. This is going to be the battle for P9. Sears and Love, they're going to keep things interesting here as they come down into Vale. They're going to look at Club. Hard on the brakes. They're going to go around the outside. Oh! And he just overcooks it slightly, does William Love.
Yeah, William went in a little bit too hot. Chris Sears come over the line and took that one away there. You can see further back, Vargas is still going with Bronson Stafford in front. It is going to be Bronson's going to come over the line and wrap that one up, and then Bryce Benton there as well. But yeah, Brian Long kind of went along in the race just a little bit unnoticed, and obviously that's oh, he manages to hold on to that one. And then you got Pablo Valenzuela who passed Lucas Moody, and he sends it in the inside. Job done at that point. I think Moody was out of push to pass and didn't really have any response on that.
Yeah, good run from everyone there to survive this race here at Silverstone. But in the end, it is Carson Keane by 6.9 seconds getting the win over Gabriel Hop. Very, very stellar win there. Jeff Groff in third place. Fourth place, Pablo Valenzuela. In fifth place was Lucas Moody. Sixth place is Frankie Brzezowski. Seventh place, Brian Long. Eighth place, Anthony Zitch. Ninth place, Chris Sears. Then William Love rounds out your top 10 there with Bronson Stafford in P11. Manuel Animal Vargas in P12. Bryce Benton in 13th. Victor Camoro and Joshua Benjamin rounding out 15 drivers. And the only driver not showing up on your screen there is Matthew Rodriguez, who finished in 16th place here in this run. Absolutely amazing run from everyone. James, what do you say we start with talking to our race winner there, Carson Keane? Hello, my friend. How was your time trial?
My time trial was great. Thank you for asking.
I mean,
that was a good race, man. Gabriel was putting the pressure on off the beginning there, and managed to just be consistent and get some laps down.
Yeah, for about the first half of the race, it looked like you were under pressure, and then all of a sudden you just started opening up a few tenths a lap and just kept it moving. Did you do anything different after the first half of the race? What was it after that halfway point that let you open the gap?
I think I just got comfy, and then I kind of felt like Gabriel was getting some off tracks, particularly at Cops. So I was just trying to track out a little bit wider there and see if I could get him to back off a little bit. Dirty air on this track is brutal in this car, so I knew with him following, he was probably going to have to back off at some point, or I was hopeful anyway. And I think I got a little bit lucky in the sense that he did. So and then I just got comfy, man. The tires started feeling really good. Just got in the zone and managed to stick it out.
Yeah, it was fun to watch through and kind of see what you're doing there, Carson. I want to ask you, though, I want to look ahead to the next round. Sebring is our next round coming up. What are we thinking coming next week?
I think I'm going to need to put some serious practice in. The bumpy track, going to be pretty tricky in this car. I'm looking forward to the challenge, though. There's a ton of quick guys in this league right now, which is awesome. The racing, I don't think has ever been better. So yeah, Sebring, I think is going to be a challenge. A lot of focus to next week now. Yeah, a lot of practice here.
Awesome. And Carson, anyone you want to thank? Anyone you want to shout out before we let you go for the night?
Just thank Brian and Anthony, the other admins in the league here, and thank all the guys for showing up. Week in, week out. It's great fun. And obviously thank you guys for putting on some amazing broadcasts. They're great fun to watch.
Awesome, and thank you. We'll see you next week at
Thanks, guys.
Thanks. All right, James, and let's grab our second place finisher here, one Gabriel Hopp, who it seems like had probably one of the more challenging races, was under pressure pretty much lap 1 to lap 25. Gabriel, how was the race from your shoes?
Damn. Yeah, that was a hard one. Very hard one to keep Jeff behind. He was clearly faster, but it's not an easy track to overtake. But yeah, very hard one.
Do you think you had a chance at the win there against Carson Keene? It seemed like you were very close for about half the race. Do you think you could have gotten him if you had done anything a little different?
I was hoping he was going to do a mistake or something like that, but I did it first and then I lost him. But yeah, no, Carson had an incredible pace this week. No chase, I think.
Yeah, and Gabriel, looking ahead to next week, Sebring coming up, and then Circuit of the Americas after that. How are we feeling confidence-wise for the next couple of weeks?
Yeah, I like Sebring a lot. I like that track, but for Ricotta, I need to see. I don't have very I'm not very confident in that track, but I'm looking forward to Sebring. I think it will be a fun one, very bumpy track, and I really like that track.
Yeah, it's been a lot of fun to watch you race here. Anyone you want to thank? Anyone you want to shout out before we let you go for the evening?
Yeah, and I want to shout out, thank my parents. They are always watching me here, rooting for me, and yeah, that's it.
Awesome. Big shout out to you. Congrats on the second place, and we'll see you next week at Sebring.
Thank you so much.
Awesome. And then we're going to bring in our third place driver, who definitely had a hard run. Looked like he was going to get second place at one point, and in the end, it is third. Jeff, talk to me about your race.
Yeah, it felt good, but boy, that was a battle. I was just trying to kind of ease it home because we started getting up there in incidents. I had to imagine that maybe Gabriel might have had some incidents. I couldn't really tell with maybe his ping or whatever. It seemed like he might have been off track a few times, and I lost count at some point. But it was a great battle, and I thoroughly enjoyed it.
It was a lot of fun to watch, and we kept seeing second, third, fourth, fifth, you, Gabriel in front of you, and Pablo and Lucas behind you. We kept seeing that close and open. Were you using your push to pass super defensively? Were you trying to attack for second place? What were you looking for in your race there?
A little bit of both. I kept on having a good run on Gabriel out of Beckett's into Stowe, but I just could not get the run. I would also use it on that same that main straight after I think turn 4 or something, and I would just try to use that throughout the race. But sometimes it was trying to attack, sometimes it was trying to defend, sometimes it was just trying to keep up. There was just a consistency issue that I was just dealing with. There's some corners that I just could not get the tires to plant, and so it is what it is, but I tried my best.
Yeah, it was a solid P3 there. And looking ahead, of course, we have some fun tracks coming up. Sebring being one of them. How are you excited for Sebring next week?
I love Sebring. I actually won my first league race at Sebring in the PRL this last season, and it came at the expense of Pablo and the guy he was fighting with, but I'll take it. So, I like it. I like the bumps. I like having to manage the car throughout that race. So I'm looking forward to it.
Awesome. And Jeff, anyone you want to thank, anyone you want to shout out before we let you go?
Yeah, my wife and kids, as always. Destino Motorsports, Go Squadra, the SR4S, you guys for putting on the league and the broadcast. I love your guys' broadcasts. I watch them every week.
Awesome. And big shout out to you, Jeff. Congrats on the P3. And we'll see if you can't repeat getting another league win at Sebring next week.
Yeah, thank you. I'll look forward to it.
And thank you. I tell you what, Jeff Groff might be the one I put my money on next week, but this week it was Carson Keene who took it, ran away, and said adios. James, any final thoughts about Silverstone before we send this one off?
No, it was great racing, wasn't it? We didn't see much of certain people because obviously they were pretty spread out, but everybody did a great job. Everybody comes over the line. Matthew Rodriguez had a bit of a rough one, but that could be just down to, practice. And it should be exciting. Sebring, bumpy, airfield, old school circuit. I'm looking forward to it.
I think it'll be a lot of fun. And of course, where will you find that at? Well, it'll be here on the JP Broadcasting Network. Be sure to like, subscribe, ring the bells, do all the things you can do to support us here for completely free. But that is going to be where we send off this round 4 in Silverstone. On behalf of James Parfitt, my name is Bradley Dalton. We've taken you start to finish tonight. Be sure to join us on the next broadcast where we'll take you start to finish yet again. Good night.